And Top Story, as always, is brought to you by Telecel Connecting Energies and also by Shield Pension Trust into the future with you. Now, quote and unquote, Ghana is expecting your resignation. That's the strong message from Member of Parliament for the Asin South constituency. In the wake of allegations of the president traveling to Japan on a private jet. The demand comes after Kojo Blackwest passed vows to resign if President John Dramani Mahamed's government used chartered flight. Now, this is coming after Vincent Assefa, who is Member of Parliament for Otafo, claimed that President Mahama chartered a private jet for his Japan trip. Okujuta Blackwell had previously, stated that he would resign if the NDC government used private jets, citing concerns about protecting the public purse. The MP accuses the Blackwell of engaging in petty politics, particularly during former President Nana Dankwa's Akufo-Addo's tenure. Vincent Assefa not only demands that we are told the truth about the president's travel, but he's urging government to prioritize the president's safety by submitting a proposal for a new presidential jet. Now, however, Deputy Chief of Staff Stan Dogbe has dismissed the claims. In a Facebook post, he clarified that President Mahama traveled to Japan on a commercial airline from Accra's Kotoka International Airport, accompanied by other passengers. We'll get into this particular matter. But as you may know, Ghana's presidential jet has been grounded in France since March 2025, and it's undergoing a routine inspection after engineers found serious damage to the jet. My colleague Caleb Ziblim is here with me in the studio with some details. Caleb, how old do we know is Ghana's presidential jet, and is it really that old?
Okay, yes, Bridge. So the Ghana's presidential jet, which is the Falcon 900 EX Easy, is an executive aircraft built by Dassault Aviation in France. Now, it was ordered around 2007 at a cost of about $37 million. And according to the Ghana Armed Forces, it was manufactured in 2009, certified in 2010, and entered service on 7 July 2010. So this means that the jet is just over 15 years old. And for perspective, the two American Air Force Ones, which is the presidential jet that the US president uses, entered service in 1990 and 1991, making them 35 years and 34 years old. So by age alone, Ghana's jet is not considered too old. Ours is about 15 years old now. And the manufacturer of the jets does not state a fixed lifespan for the jets. However, the aircraft's continued service depends on strict adherence to its maintenance schedule. So this includes a basic inspection every 200 flight hours or 2 months, whichever comes first, a full inspection every year, and a heavy maintenance every 6 years. So according to the manufacturer, if you adhere to this maintenance schedule, you should not have problems with your aircraft anytime soon.
Okay. Now, which company, rented this particular jet to government? And is it a rented jet anyway?
The presidential jet is for the government. We bought it and we paid for it. It was manufactured in 2007 by Dassault Aviation in France. And then it has been in service since July 7th, 2010.
How about its current state?
So the current state, that's where the concern lies. According to the late Defense Minister, Dr. Kofi Omaniboama, speaking at the Government Accountability Series on 21st July, he said the aircraft is undergoing maintenance in France and has been found to be heavily corroded. But he still stressed that this does not justify the frequent hiring or renting of luxurious private aircrafts for presidential use. So the Defense Ministry was clear that they are not going to be using private aircraft for luxurious private aircraft for presidential use. However, the current state of the Ghana's presidential jets is that it is heavily corroded and is going maintenance in France.
I'm grateful to you, Caleb Ziblim, there. But the MP for Otafo, Vincent Assefa, who stoked this whole new debate about the presidential jet, made a post on Facebook where he wrote, quote, "This private jet, MBAEP, left Accra this morning around 7 a.m. It is estimated to cost $15,000 per hour to rent this flight. A simple calculation shows that the 7-hour journey already covered an amount to $105,000. If the flight proceeds to Japan, which is likely to take about 12 hours, that would be another $180,000. If it then continues to Singapore, approximately 7 hours away, that would add another $105,000. Finally, if the jet flies directly to Germany and then back to Accra, a total of about 20 hours return trip, that would add another $300,000, dollars. And then he says altogether the cost comes to an incredible $690,000 without including waiting times and or stopovers. And he attaches an airline ticket that shows the travel from Accra to Berlin in Germany. Luckily for us, we've been joined on the line by him, Vincent Ekosefa, MP for Otafu. I'm grateful to you, sir, for joining. Unfortunately, we've lost him there, but we'll get him to help us understand where all of this, is coming from. Vincent will be joining us for us to have this particular discussion here on Top Story. Again, as a build, after that particular conversation got started, then the ranking on Parliament's Defence and Interior Committee, Reverend Tim Kojo, then joins the discussion and proposes or calls for the resignation of Samuel Okudzeto-Ablakwa, who is the Foreign Affairs Minister, for stating in the past that if they come to power and the president engages in the rental of private jet, he will resign. We'll get to that particular matter shortly here on the show. But Vincent Ekosefa has joined us back on the line. Let's bring him in. Vincent, do I still have you here? Hello, sir. Thank you for joining us. Okay, we'll try and get Vincent Ekosefa so we have this particular interaction. But also on Reverend Tim Kojo, I mean, he wrote on X about this particular, trending topic, and he says, "My principles, or Mr. Principles at S. Okudzeto-Ablak, Ghana is expecting your resignation. NDC must apologize to Ghanaians and President Akufo-Addo for doing petty politics with presidential travels. Government must be bold to submit proposals for the acquisition of new presidential jet for the president's safety." We'll get to that particular matter shortly. Vincent Ekosefa has joined us. I'm grateful to you, sir, for joining. Now, I mean, let's get the full details. What made you conclude that the president will be traveling on that particular jet?
You take your time to read my statement, because if you clearly took your time to read my statement, you would realize that there was no conclusion at all. In the absence of information, the vacuum is created. And as a member of parliament, when I receive information from sources, you need to verify and verify. But sometimes you still leave room for doubt. And that is how I couch my statement for the Ghanaian people to understand that, yes, there is something fishy. And I'll demonstrate to you why.
So you're saying that your post was not conclusive enough?
Have you read the statement?
I have. I just read it on air. But I'm saying...
So you realize that there are some instances, I think that paragraph 2 and 3, I use conditional statement where I said, if it proceeds to here, if it proceeds to here. The first line, I was very clear with what I said. And so I am only saying.
So I get it, but your if clauses, were you then stating from the first sentence that you knew for sure that the president was on that particular plane?
Why are you so much interested in the flight that the president used? See, read the statement from Felix Ofosu-Kwakye. It says that the president is traveling with a delegation. So your interest should not only be about the president. It should be about the president and the delegation. So I am suggesting to you that there's a private jet that left the shores of this country yesterday around 7 a.m. As to the people who were in that flight, you and I cannot confirm. Why is the state, why is the government silent about it, only telling us that the president traveled to Japan without naming the people that he's traveling with? In any case, go and check the president. Hold on. Go and check the president's earlier term when he was president of the republic in 2013, 2014, 2015. All the statements that were issued by the president at the time through his communications officers were that the president was traveling with a delegation, which delegation was named, and their capacity and what they are going to do also mentioned in those statements. And I could read some of them to you if you give me time.
But I want to understand something. So the president is traveling with a delegation that we've been told. But are you
aware of the delegation?
No, I'm coming. Are you alleging?
No, are you aware?
Are you alleging that this delegation is the one traveling on this jet, or what really is it your connection with the jet that you put out there?
I am not the one receiving the 78 million for government communications. 78 million Ghana cedis has been approved by Parliament, given to a ministry to give information to the Ghanaian people. Why do you come and tell me that the president traveled on a commercial line? Which commercial line? We don't know. Why are you telling us that the president traveled with a delegation? And in that statement, you make it clear that the president is going to make sure that there is some amount of investment that we brought back to the state. Is it the case that the Minister of Trade is part of this delegation? We are not aware. As a member of Parliament, I'm interested. A taxpayer, I'm interested. Is it the case that the GIPC boss is part of the delegation? As a member of Parliament, I'm interested. I should be aware. Why is the government hiding this information from us when their earlier statement from 2013 to 2016 was very clear about that? Is it because of how they politicize our presidential jet and how they politicize renting of aircraft in this country? And for that matter, they are hiding such information from us.
Okay.
In any case,
now,
can anybody convince me that it is an issue of national security? If it is an issue of national security, as I was told on the floor of Parliament by my brother, Omane Boama, and the first Deputy Speaker of Parliament at the time, if that is the case, please, just about 8 months, 9 months ago, they did not care about the supposed national security.
Okay.
So why are they hiding all this information from us?
But Ms. Asifwa, did your source confirm to you, because you said you received that information, did your source confirm to you who were on it, that the president was on that jet?
I am suggesting to you that I can only help you as the fourth asset of the realm for you to unravel some of these mysteries. That the president travels, the delegation is not known. We don't even know the commercial airline that the president used. We don't know the delegation as to the aircraft that they used. Are you not interested?
I'm interested.
Why is the 78 billion Ghana that has been given to a ministry cannot communicate this simple fact to us?
I'm interested, but I also want to find out from you whether you got your fact right, that the president was indeed traveling on that particular jet at that time.
My brother, that is what I'm saying. That, see, I'm a lawyer. When I'm writing, I know what I'm writing. And I know what I seek to achieve. And that's why I'm saying that when you read what I wrote, it should tell you that I wanted to seek certain answers. And that is why, from how I see the information being sent around, there is something fishy going on.
Okay.
Because I don't see why the government is hiding some of this information from us.
We are being told by government sources that indeed the 7 a.m. you gave, the president was in Ghana around 10 a.m. So how could that jet that you say left Ghana around 7 a.m.?
Why are you setting your own question and answering them? I am telling you that I'm not interested in the president. I'm interested in the president and the delegation, because in their own statement, they made mention of the president traveling with a delegation. Why do you want to single out the president? Is it the case that the jet is meeting the president, or if like some other people somewhere? That is what the president intentionally, probably, if what they are alleging is the case, use a commercial airline which we don't even know. Please, you have to take your time, else you will make a mistake.
So your focus is not entirely on the president, but his entourage and
the
which flight they are traveling.
And the entourage. The fact that if what they are saying is true, the president did not use the aircraft that I'm talking about, it does not mean that the president will not use it along his trip. So let's be careful.
Okay. Let me bring in Peter Lanchini Tobu. He is Vice Chairman of the Defense and Interior Committee. I'm grateful to you, sir, for joining here. What do we know about this particular travel by the president? Okay. We'll bring in Peter Lanchini Tobu again. But Mr. Asanfo, Mr. Asifwa, if you government sources, and I'm quoting Stan Dugbe here, he says the president is traveling on a commercial flight with some Ghanaians with him on board. So doesn't that answer your question about whether they are on the commercial flight or not? Hello, Mr. Vincent Ekwasofa. Do I have you?
Yes, I did hear that.
Yeah, I'm asking that. I mean, if you read from the deputy chief of staff, he says the president is traveling on a commercial flight with some Ghanaians with him on board that flight. Does it answer your question about? I mean, whether this delegation is traveling on the presidential on that rented jet or not? Okay, so we lost Vincent Ekwasifwa there. He's MP for Old Tafo. We'll try and bring him up again to have this interaction and to get to the bottom of this particular matter. We'll also be getting to Parliament to understand what they do know, and we'll also be speaking to government here. The Minister for Government Communication is built to speak to us so that we can get some answers to the public who want to know exactly what is happening. Vincent Ekwasifwa says he is talking about the president and his delegation, whether the delegation is on this flight that he put out there in the public space that left Accra at 7 a.m. And he says, in his words, that if the president even so left the shores of Ghana on a commercial flight, is it the fact that the president might not be traveling on that jet that left the shores of Ghana on 7 a.m.? Well, we'll get some answers for you here on Top Story. But if you read the Facebook page of Stan Dogwe, he says the president was live on many TV networks between 10:30 a.m. and 12:45 p.m. attending the Thanksgiving Mass of Dr. Edward Omani Boama at the Christ the King Parish. Did he take off in the supposed jet at 7 a.m. and flew back for the 10:30 a.m. Mass? Okay. So that's what the Deputy Chief of Staff is putting out there. Vincent Ekwasifwa is now broadening the discussion to say, well, the focus should not only be on the president, but again on the delegation traveling with the president. We'll get all of those, checks for you here on Top Story. Again, as when this whole thing came up, then the ranking member on the Defense and Interior Committee, Reverend Tim Kojo, then added a call on the Foreign Affairs Minister to resign, because he said in the past that if they come to power and the president or the government rent jet, he will resign. And again, he's proposing that the government or the executive must come with a proposal to buy a new jet. We'll get some answers from him as well here on Top Story, brought to you by Telecel Connecting Energies, and also by our friends who are also helping us out here. Shield Pension Trust, into the future with you. Okay, so that is what Stan Dogbe put out, and I've read that to you. He is challenging what the Otafo MP has put out there, that the president is not traveling on that particular jet, and that the president is traveling on a commercial flight. So when we are joined by government, we'll get more details about that particular flight that we're told the president is traveling. Now, if Stan Dogbe again brings some more clarity, says President John Dramani Mahama is on his way to Japan on board a commercial airline from Accra's Kotoka International Airport. There are so he says there are right-thinking Ghanaians on board with him. That is what they put out there. Again, he continues to say, quote, if the president's trip requires a privately chartered aircraft and not his brother's Jata, which has saved the state huge sums of money, be sure that we will go for that, but not at an exorbitant cost to the state. So that's what the Deputy Chief of Staff has been. He's been providing some clarity on this whole allegation of the president traveling on a certain rented jet, which was put out in the public space by Echo Vincent Ekwasifwa, who is the MP for Old Tafo. So we'll get to the bottom of this and get some more reaction for you here on it, because according to a call, and I quote, it says this private jet MBAEP left Accra this morning around 7 a.m. It is estimated to cost $15,000 per hour to rent this flight. A simple calculation shows that the 7-hour journey already covered, amount to $105,000. If the flight proceeds to Japan, which is likely to take about 12 hours, that would be another $180,000. And then he continues to say, if it then continues to Singapore, approximately 7 hours away, that would add another $105,000. Finally, if the jet flies early to Germany and then back to Accra, a total of about 20 hours return trip, that would add another $300,000. Then he adds it together to say, quote, altogether, the cost comes to an incredible $690,000 without including waiting times and or stopovers. And then he provides that particular ticket showing when the airline left Accra. Sunday, 17th August, 7:13 a.m. GMT, and was expected to land in Germany at 4:12 p.m. Central Eastern Europe time. So that is what we do know there, according to Vincent Asifo. But he says the focus must not be on the president alone. The government has vehemently denied that particular allegation. So let's try and bring in Reverend Intim Kojo now, because he has also alleged, he has made a post on X that if it is true that the president rented the jet, then the foreign affairs minister should resign. Reverend, I'm grateful to you, sir, for joining us here.
Yeah, thank you very much, Kojo.
So, where is your what is the grounding of your post on X that the foreign affairs minister should resign?
Have you read my post?
Yes, I have. I just read it on air.
Very well. If my post is what you read, then in context you will understand that I'm calling for the NDC to be bold, to bring a proposal prioritizing the safety of the president for a new acquisition of a presidential jet. For that conversation to be had, you remember on your platforms, for a month now, I've consistently been calling for the government to lead that discussion. We, on our side, would do the kind of opposition politics that prioritizes the safety of the president, and will not do petty politics with how the president travels.
So
whether the
what is
president travels
informing
on private jets, whether the president travels on private jets or travels commercial or goes on presidential jets, we are interested in the safety. Any means suitable and safe for the president to embark on his official travels, that is our concern.
Okay.
And so the conversation should be in context. What we're expecting NDC to do now is to concede that indeed they erred when they were in opposition and chose to do petty politics with presidential travels. More than ever before, recent events have taught us a lesson that platforms on which the president travels are the ties that should never be politicized.
So on which basis are you calling on the foreign affairs minister to resign?
On the basis of the irresponsible politics he did with presidential travels. He vowed clearly, and you have all your tapes, that he will resign if any president or vice president travels on a private jet. Since they assumed office from January to this point, there have been occasions where the vice president and the president have used private jets. I have no problem with it. I have stated time and time again that if the state security apparatus determines that a vice president or the president should travel on private jets or any other suitable means of aircraft, that should not be a subject for discussion. But they did politics with it.
But today we're being told that the president never traveled on a rented jet for his current travel to Japan.
I never referenced the current travel, so that is why you need to read my post.
Okay.
I never referenced a particular travel, neither did I reference yesterday's travel. I am talking about matter of principle. Since January till now, the president and the vice president are on record to have flown on private jets. And I have stated that we don't have any problem with that. The vice president or the president can fly private at any time as the state so determines. And I will support if that is a means available. When there is commercial flights available, the president may use it, the vice president may use it. If the travel is such that a private jet is what has to be chartered for that trip for safety, I will support that call. But the bigger conversation we must be having is that since we understand that the president cannot travel commercial at all times, and there's need for a befitting presidential jet, which will aid the presidential travels, it's important we put aside politics and hold that conversation. And the government of the day is the one whose responsibility it is to initiate that proposal so that Ghanaians will be carried along. I have already started a lot of massive advocacy that if NDC and the current government should initiate that conversation, we should support them. But for that support to come, they have to first apologize to Ghanaians. That when the experts give accounts of the state of the presidential aircraft and stated that it was time for replacement, it was time for us to have a conversation about it. And they said, no, it is the best aircraft in Africa, the third best aircraft. There's nothing wrong with it. On hindsight, they have come to know that they lied to Ghanaians. And so they need to apologize.
Your point basically is not related to the fact that the allegations about the president traveling on a jet today. I mean, just briefly, we've been joined by Professor Daniel Kwesi Ajekum. He is an aviation expert. Prof, with the current presidential jet, do you think it's worthy to be flying the president?
Yeah. Thank you very much, and greetings to my fellow panelists and the rest of the listening public. Basically, I would just want to, reference all my discussion by stating that I'm a retired Air Force officer. I was in the communications squadron of the Ghana Air Force, which was tasked with executive travel. And so that should be put in context as part of my submission. Okay. There's this whole discussion about presidential jet. Personally, and in my opinion, I think there is a little bit of semantics being played around. Basically, the Ghana Air Force, as part of its role within the whole national defense discussion or policy, it starts to provide executive travel or special travel for the government. And so basically any aircraft that is provided to the Ghana Air Force for that purpose, it's not solely for the president, it is for all governmental travels. And so we have to frame the discussion in that way. Why do we even need, that capabilities? Let me use the example of, flying the president because maybe he's the chief executive of the nation. You want that flexibility.
All right, Prof, I'm grateful to you, but we have to leave it here because of time. This has been Top Story brought to you by Telecel, connecting energy. Up next is News Night.
Small money day, big money day, way too much money day. Telecel too much money promo drop. If for dial *500#, then join them for the Telecel too much money promo inside. You feel win 100 Ghana cedis cash for the daily draws, 20,000 Ghana cedis for the weekly draws, then 1.2 million Ghana cedis for the grand draw inside. That be 1.2 million Ghana cedis. You for just reload airtime, then get points with it make you win. Make you dial *500# or go the Telecel Play app top. Then book inside riders give the Telecel too much money promo. Terms and conditions apply.
Telecel, connecting energies.
This promo will be NLA way they regulate them for the Caritas Lottery platform top.
Couldn't sleep at night. Mosquitoes will be whining my ears, bugging me all night long. Till I got a remedy. Now I'll be spraying them away with holy insecticide spray. Me I go spray them away with holy insecticide spray. When I sleep, me da na ma da.
Toquel, Holy Multi-Purpose Insecticide Spray. Ghana Kron Kron. For bulk purchase, call 0302 681582. This advert is FDA approved.
No. You look so relaxed and cheerful these days. What's your secret?
No secret, Kofi. I just sorted out my retirement with Shield Pension Trust. You should talk to them.
Retirement? There's more time before pension.
Sure. The earlier you start, the better. And Shield Pension Trust makes this so easy for you. They've got amazing plans to choose from. I even signed up for the Shield Cedi Crow a Day personal pension scheme, which lets you save as little as 1 Ghana Cedi a day towards your retirement. Isn't that great?
1 CD a day.
Exactly. And the best part is, I sign up automatically on the Dachia Promoting Plan, which guarantees me medical insurance when I go on retirement.
Hey, you've convinced me. I need to sign up now.
Kofi is making a move to secure his future and health insurance when he goes on retirement. What about you? Go to Shield Pension Trust or call us now on 050-915-0253 and we'll guide you through securing your pension tomorrow. Shield Pension Trust, into the future with you.
Years of joyfulness. Hello, good evening, and welcome to Newsnight.
This bulletin is live on Joy 99.7 FM in Accra, Love 99.5 FM in Kumasi, and on over 30 affiliates across the country. Tonight, contractor for the Pokuasi-Insaw road gives a 9-month deadline to complete the project as construction resumes on a 34.3-kilometer road following threats from transport unions to embark on an indefinite strike if the road is not fixed.
We have up to May 2026 to complete, and if there are any snacks, we will definitely ask for extension.
But will this compel the drivers to back down on the intended strike in less than 48 hours? We have details.
Tonight, civil society groups demand arrest and prosecution of mining operator accused of attempting to illegally divert the Brim River at Apapam in the eastern region. We'll bring you the latest as pressure mounts on security agencies to act swiftly against Inwano Gamha and all those alleged to be complicit.
And heavy security deployment to Ashiman as scores of aggrieved traders took to the streets, accusing the municipal assembly of unlawfully evicting them from a disputed parcel of land still pending in court.
In business,
competition and deregulation policy played a major role in forcing oil marketing companies to keep prices unchanged at the pumps despite projected increase.
And in sports, 5 days to go until the 2025 Joy Sports Invitational Tournament.
We've got the latest of these and many other stories coming up in the next 1 hour. My name is Kenneth. Gyasi.
My name is Ofori.
And Newsnight, you can join the conversation on our WhatsApp platform. It's 055 1111 997.
This is where we begin because after months of abandonment due to delayed payments, Marimpoma Enterprises Limited, the contractor for the Pokuasi-Insaw road project, has resumed work with a new deadline to complete the 346 million Ghana cedis project within 9 months. Well, this development comes on the heels of an ultimatum issued by the Ghana Private Road Transport Union and the Ghana Road Transport Coordinating Council to the government, warning of a strike if work did not resume by August 20th.
Joy News' Michael Ashale reports that the poor state of the road has been a major headache for commuters and transport operators, causing heavy traffic, persistent vehicle breakdowns, and increased operational costs.
We'll bring our listeners more on that shortly, Pearl, but we know that the contractor is back on site now and work has begun. But I understand we have the sound now, Pearl.
Yes, we have the sound from Michael Ashale, who visited the area today.
With each passing day, commuters and drivers are paying the price for government's inaction. Welcome to the Pokuasi-Insaw stretch, where driving is a nightmare for drivers and commuters, and where every bump feels like a gamble with your vehicle's safety. This stretch has been under construction for years. Yet today, the contractor is nowhere in sight. The result? An obstacle course of potholes, forcing drivers to crawl bumper to bumper, twisting and turning just to stay on four wheels. On our visit, more than 20 vehicles were seen broken down in the middle of the road. Here lies another broken down car, and another, and another. Vehicles, both big, long, medium, or whatever size it is, at some point in their journey to Kumasi, have to at least run through this muddy water. A very difficult situation for many of them because they don't know what exactly under the surface of that water looks like. You may as well just call it the muddy pool of death, because I've counted not one, not two, but more than 3 vehicles in this section alone that are broken down. They haven't moved an inch in hours. The difficulty is that no help can come to you at this particular point in the middle of a muddy pool.
Ashiman, Eastern region.
Darko Foster was heading to the eastern region when his car skidded dangerously close to tipping over.
I
didn't know where to pass. I lost traction. The next thing I realized, the vehicle was skidding, and there were people in the car, and no one is willing to help.
Okay, now I'm afraid to win country. One from 2.5 p.m.
His passenger, Mary Owusu, had bought goods in Accra to sell back home. Now, they sit drenched and ruined.
12 o'clock. The car has been stuck here since 12. There is mud in my goods and everything I bought to sell is destroyed. I lost my money today.
While we were here, an STC bus got stuck. It was the second one that day in the same area. The driver, John Ate, is now visibly frustrated.
A state bus, a whole state bus. Look at the situation in which it is.
This is a state bus. Now see where we are. Government must fix the road. The road is very bad.
Problem, I don't know.
But how bad is the road?
Road in there very bad. Very bad. Bad. Beyond bad. Beyond bad.
Passengers were forced to get out and wade through mud. For another passenger, time is money. He's now late to his appointment and losing both. Manaf, yes. This vehicle is sport. Are you from this vehicle or one of the passengers in there?
No, I'm not, but from the other one, a similar STC that got stuck along.
Another STC broken down, yes. Same day, same time?
Yes.
From Burkina Faso to Tema, one long haul brought to a halt here.
The road no good.
I swear.
Brahma Tofik's cargo now sits in jeopardy after a key support beam broke in the struggle.
If you come out from Amle, Cambodia, the road no good. So all the goods we the load no. I swear, but from Obakura, Oko, Odo Amele Kura, plenty cars fall down for that place because of the road. The road no good. The day we go do 5 days to reach the Tema, but sometimes we do 1 month before we reach Tema.
Taxi driver Alex Apia-Danko says business is slow. Whatever he earns goes straight into repairs as well.
Some passengers in
The passengers are not boarding our taxis. Look at the road. We beg, please come and fix it.
Yes, Rabano. On show my Onya Bibia. Odonya Kura, on Sessin, mine.
Commercial buses are cashing in. A journey from Pokuasi to Ashiman, once 5 cedis, now cost 10. Janet Morte says it is broad day thievery.
If you don't have 10 cedis, you can't move from here to Media.
Some drivers even stop mid-route, forcing passengers to pay again before continuing.
Kwabenya, I am heading to Sapeman, and I had to pay another fare to continue.
Ride-hailing drivers have abandoned the route altogether. Kweku Frimpong is unhappy.
And because of the bad routes, sometimes when people request for Bolt and Uber and all those kind of commercial, they don't want to come to this part of because of the condition of the route. And it really affects. And because of this issue, this public transport, the Trocho people, they've increased the fare of the prices exponentially.
Frustrated, the GPRTU and GRTCC have announced plans to demonstrate over the bad road. Residents and commuters have endorsed it.
Of course, why won't I join? Because it's really now kids are not able to use this road anymore. And then it's seriously, I'm even lost of words. I didn't even know the right words to use because
we are on our knees. They should fix it for us.
We will demonstrate. We must park the cars on the road and block it. They should try and fix it for us.
The Ashiman Road is a critical stretch for trade and commerce, but the current state is crippling the economy and affecting lives. The government must take immediate action to address the situation and complete the road project. Until then, every journey here will remain a gamble. For Joy News, Michael Ashali and Anthony Menu.
Well, Michael actually filed that report last Thursday when he visited that stretch. He's joined me in the studio. We know that the contractor is back on site now. Michael, what is the state of affairs on the road as we speak?
Well, Pearl, between Thursday and now, I could tell you that there's some level of comfort that drivers will appreciate if they have to use the road today. Only because that, as you mentioned, the contractor is back on. Clearly, this is a contractor that's also listening and watching as well. And on our checks, right from the portion just before Ashiman all the way to Insamuem, you realize that they are currently working on portions that are impossible, to use that word. The places that the drivers specifically actually mentioned that they wanted them to make them more trouble. And Satellite is one of those places. So at the moment, it's a bit better than Thursday when we went there. And the contractor is currently on site mobilizing. I saw some heavy duty machines on the road. Some of them are leveling. Others are pouring, the tipper trucks, for instance, are pouring laterite on the road. And then you have the bulldozers leveling of the place, and some of them even compacting.
Okay, so we know that the major section of the road which poses severe challenge is the section where a large pool of water is collected. Is that where they're starting from?
Well, that's not the only place. So it's one of many places that were of heavy concern to the drivers especially. right? So satellite is that specific place where you have the muddy pool of water.
Yes, you mentioned that last
in the
week.
middle of it, yeah. So in that portion is one of the places that they're actually working on. So when we went, there were the two main roads that are in there. One of them heading towards Insawam and the other coming from Insawam. They blocked the one that is heading towards Insawam, and they have rerouted the traffic to the other section of it that is coming from Insawam. But they're also working on the adjacent road that is supposed to be like a utility road. They are currently working on it at the moment. Just a few minutes ago when I left there were at least 2 tipper trucks there. There was 1 bulldozer as well there, and that was trying to level up the place. So on that section specifically, although you have water sitting in the middle of the road, still some bit of it, they blocked it and made access to around it. But they're working on it, and I'm pretty sure that before even the end of the week, that small section will be better to ply on.
Okay, that's some progress there. What has been the reaction of road users to this new development?
So we've been speaking to a lot of residents and drivers around that area, and seeing the contractor there alone and seeing the work that he's been able to do. And we are told that the contractor moved on site from Saturday. Okay. So between Saturday and now, given the work they have done, some of them are actually satisfied for now, and possibly may ask GPRT to reconsider. We can listen to some of them right now.
What's your friend saying? About your friend saying? About your friend, Amos Mensa. Amos Mensa. About your Amos, I didn't at all. Well, me brother back over here tomorrow, satellite. I say. Now, Bano, you cross up on baby a fire, say 1 year. I'm planning in I'm in Papua in our party, my way will at him. I'm in Papua in our Monshire, Semper, one cry at it. There were my inquiry and your cry, serious bossing. Romane kwandi about to kwani kwaso bi ato aba anodin pa do man yi kwonu panfo no omunya no monhwe na omunya bibi mfa ho na esa youth na yewo timamu no like yeah break too much.
So Michael, help us understand what that resident is saying.
So this particular gentleman has a backstory, and that is that just a few minutes before he met me, he was tiptoeing in some of these muddy pools along the stretch, and then mistakenly he fell into what he didn't know was a gutter. Okay. And actually his slipper that he was wearing got torn. So he had found me and came to tell me that he was bitterly complaining and saying that this is what they need government to work on. They have seen the contractor work. You hear the bulldozer in the background working. What they want them to do is to continue and never to leave side and finish, so that what happened to him will not happen to many more people.
Michael Asher, thank you very much for that update. And of course, Kenneth will be keeping an eye on this to ensure that the road is completed.
Definitely, Pearl. And we can now hear from the project manager, engineer Pokuasi-Insaw, who has assured that the project should be completed within 9 months. We'll bring you the sound of the project manager pretty shortly, but as you've been listening to, we bring you the sound of the project manager pretty shortly, but as you've been listening to my colleague Michael Ashali narrating really what transpired today, and we now have the sound of the engineer on site.
The man is not going to take a lot of time. Between 2 and 3 weeks, the man is not going to take a lot of time. Between 2 and 3 weeks, we must be done with the basic maintenance, and that is filling and grading of the road up to Insawam. But I said we started on Saturday. Within 2 and 3 weeks, we must be clear.
How about the major road? How many months or years are you going to spend in the construction?
Yeah, we have up to May 2026 to complete. And if there are any snacks, we will definitely ask for extension. And I'm telling you one snack. It's going to take us about 7 months to complete the interchange. But now, if the compensation is done and we are going to count another 3 months up to November, it means we are going to start from November. Then November up to May is about 7 months. We wouldn't have completed the top. Then so there will be a basis to ask for any extension if it comes like that. Talking about this compensation, there are some individuals who have sent us to court, but they wanted to even put an injunction on the construction works. But we just had a letter from the engineer, that is Highway Authority, that the court didn't grant. So we can go ahead and do the demolitions and complete. So that challenge is there. There are also some electricity lines and water lines in the right of way. They have all encroached in their right of way, and it shouldn't have happened like that.
That's the project manager on site, engineer Ewuku Asare. There. Let's go into the telephone lines and have the conversation on the back of this. We've been joined by Emmanuel Ohene Yeboah, who's the General Secretary of the Ghana Road Transport Coordinating Council. We also have Samuel Amwa, who's the Communications Member of the GPRTU. Let me start with you, Samuel. I'm sure you've heard the fact that the contractor has resumed work now. Does it mean your intended strike will still proceed, or you put on hold?
For having me, let me say evening to all your listeners. Yes, we've had an information that the contractor has gone back on site. Have started the we will say that these are some of the things we are waiting for to see. And to say we are calling off the strike or we are still continuing, what we intend doing, that one will depend on what we will see. If I say it will depend on what we see, we don't want the situation whereby because of the pressure, we mounted on the government. That is why the contractor just, has just gone on the site to commence the work, and maybe within some short period we will just leave the site. No, this is not what we are looking for. So all that we are doing now is to, keep our eyes watching, monitoring how the work will go. Because, most of the time, we even had one experience when, we were talking about traders, taking over the road and all that. We decided to embark on a sit-down strike. The mayor strike, we get them off the street for some shorter period, then we are back again. These are some of the things that do happen. So for now, we can't specifically say that we are calling off the strike, but we are still monitoring. They have started today. Yes, we are monitoring up to tomorrow. We gave the government up to, Wednesday, that the deadline will be Wednesday. If Wednesday nothing is being done, then Thursday we call on the sit-down strike. So all that we are doing now is just to monitoring to see how the work is going before we take a decision as to whether we are calling it off or we still continue.
Okay, thank you. Let's speak to Emmanuel Ohene Yeboah, who's the General Secretary of the Ghana Road Transport Coordinating Council. Emmanuel, you've heard that the project manager saying that this should be completed within 9 months. Is that a fair timeline they've given? Would you, give them the benefit of doubt and see how things go?
Thank you very much, my brother. I've personally gone to the site this evening to observe proceedings myself. I saw few equipments at work. I think they should up their game. Given what I saw this evening, if that's how it's going to proceed, then I'm afraid the timelines it's giving is a bit debatable. But let me say, I will congratulate the government for the efforts. I pray that they will be able to do a proper negotiation with the contractors so that they would continue with the job without much delay. So I think we are good for now, except that we can't say that because of what we are seeing today, we are going to suspend the strike. As for the strike, it's not in our interest to even go on strike. But if it's as it stands now, if they don't do any meaningful effort to get the issues to resolve, it will be very difficult for us to continue to work. So it's a plus for the government.
Does that mean that you're going to continue with your strike unabated, despite the fact that you yourself say you've been on site and you see that work is progressing steadily?
Well, like I said, I've been there this evening. Then I spoke with one of our guys in the afternoon, I think the Pulse News. After that, I was at the place when they called me. So I will monitor the proceedings and brief my people as to what the processes are. We don't take a delight in going and sit on strike. We think they should work, and that should be the interest of all of us. So we hope they continue with it, what they are doing.
So strike suspended or not?
Well, I'm not one person. I cannot speak for everybody. We need to meet as a group and maybe then take the decision together. But I'm not. Our interest is that we should work on the road. So if they have started something they are fixing, there's no interest in continue the strike.
Okay, thank you very much. Emmanuel Ohene is the General Secretary of the Ghana Road Transport Coordinating Council there, telling us this evening that he himself has been on site and has seen how work is progressing, Pearl.
Well, Tonight, a coalition of civil society organizations, including the Ghana Coalition Against Illegal Mining, Arocha Ghana, and the concerned citizens of the Etiwa landscape, have issued a joint statement describing the alleged diversion attempt as an intolerable assault on Ghana's environment and cultural heritage. They are calling for full-scale investigations, immediate arrests, and prosecution. We'll hear shortly from Dr. Kenneth Ashibe, convener of the Anti-Galamsey Coalition. But first, my colleague James Aveji has been following the development and joins me in the studio with details of the statement.
Okay, thank you very much, Emmanuel.
James, what does the statement say?
Well, this organizations you have mentioned earlier, consisting of Arocha Ghana, Dr. Kenneth Ashibe's Ghana Coalition Against Illegal Mining, are essentially, they say that, quote, as necessary due diligence and follow-ups to the development, they are demanding the following: that one, the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources Environment Protection Agency, EPA, as well as the Water Resources Commission, the Minerals Commission, must move beyond suspension and apprehend Mr. Emmanuel Gama and all individuals involved in the issue at hand. They are also calling for the prosecution of them to the fullest extent of the law for illegal mining, environmental destruction, and cultural desecrations to be tackled. The perpetrator must be compelled to cover up all trenches and fully restore the destroyed planted site. And 3, authorities must investigate any potential complicity at any level, including the mining company and all leaders involved in this menace, as they have described. We cannot build a sustainable future with this kind of escalating destruction of all our life supporting system, like rivers, forests, as exhibited by this egregious action. And so that's the collective call of these civil society organizations.
Thank you very much, James Aveji. With details of that statement, we've been joined on the phone lines by the convener for the Media Coalition Against Galamsey, Engineer Dr. Kenneth Ashibe. Thank you and good evening. Thank you for joining us on Newsnight.
Thank you very much. But please tell James that it's not my coalition, it is our coalition. And multimedia is an integral part of the coalition.
Very well. So just want to start off this way. From where you sit as a coalition, what does this mean for the habitat should these individuals succeed in diverting the river?
Well, it's very disheartening that the Brim River, which is a sacred river, at the heart of all actions, would suffer this egregious destruction. And definitely, this is something that would be known to a lot of the major stakeholders in the area. And when we allow things like this to happen, it just goes to the heart of our survival as a people. And it allows impunity to continue. It is the impunity of environmental criminals such as Emmanuel Gama that caused the life of 8 of our gallant people in the lines of duty. And we need to let people like this know that they are not going to be allowed to perpetrate such heinous crimes, ecological crimes, and be allowed to go away with it. So it's important that the offices of state do not only deal with the security persons that are there, but we need to go after the root cause. People like Mr. Emmanuel Gama and all his collaborators, and make sure that they are brought to book. We make sure that they answer to the Minerals and Mining Act and give a maximum sentence, jail sentence as well as a fine, and make sure that we confiscate every resource that he has to ensure that we can restore, the damage that has been done.
Of course, you're calling for punitive actions, but from your own investigation, is the mining firm's move within the scope of its license? Just a little bit of clarity from there.
Again, you see, if you have had the issues where the Water Resources Commission, and co would visit the place, if they had the right permits from the Minerals Commission and all of that, they would not be doing what they're doing. There's nobody allowed to mine close. There's even a buffer policy that prevents you from mining close to a water body, not more diverting the water body and going into the bed of the water body to go and mine. So that is purely an illegality. Even if he had a permit, had a license to engage in any mining, this activity that he's embarking on, is a pure illegality, and so has to be dealt with.
Dr. Ashbe, you're making several demands. If these demands are not met, what would be your next line of action?
Well, we believe that His Excellency the President and the Minister for Lands and Natural Resources would work on this. But we're getting to the point where, as a coalition and as Ghanaians, we need to start mobilizing the power that belongs to us, which says that sovereignty resides in the people. And we need to start mobilizing, as media, we need to start mobilizing citizens to respond to the call that the Minister for Lands and Natural Resources did, that we all should support. This is the time for all of us to respond to UTAC's call, to say that the same that we had last year, when the turbidity of water had gone to 14,000 MTUs, we get to that particular point. So we need to use every resource at our disposal as human beings and as citizens. And then we need to start exploring legal actions as well, so that people like this Mr. Emmanuel Gama and those who have to take action is taken. Well. But another ask that we have is the district in which this activity is taking place. Where is the MCE? Where are the police commanders in this particular area? Where are our big chiefs? This is a river that falls under the auspices of the Ochihini. What is the Ochihini doing to the chief who is close by this place? We need to start calling on all of these actors to act. So we would respectfully ask Ochihini that even as we as citizens, common citizens, try to bring some pressure to act, we'll be expecting him in the very privileged position he is as Ochihini to also bring his traditional powers to make sure that every chief who is involved in this particular activity that has happened should be dealt with. That he himself, as the custodian of the BIM, one of the traditional heritages of Achim people, he needs to also be calling this Mr. Emmanuel Gama to book and using his traditional power to be able to deal with it. It is important to state that anywhere that the traditional authorities really decide that Galamsey should not happen, it's not happening. Not too far away from Kwabing, well. There is a community that has a water body called Esubone. Okay. They don't have even a male chief. They have a queen mother. The queen mother, together with her elders,
have decided that there should be no galamsey taking place.
Dr. Kenneth Achibey, convener for the Media Coalition Against Illegal Mining, thank you so much for speaking to us on Newsnight. It's now time for business.
Pal, how you doing?
I'm
And
fine.
coming up in business, competition and deregulation policy played a major role in forcing some of the oil marketing companies to keep prices unchanged at the pumps despite projected increase. A new Bank of Ghana directive on credit, risk and liquidity issues could take off by October this year. The business news on Newsnight is brought to you by MTN Business. Welcome to the new world of business. Kingdom Books and Stationery, your number one-stop shop for all your office essentials, Sinter Tanks and Pepsodent, Herbal and Charcoal.
Ah, Ma, have you received the delivery?
Sis, Yana Riders Bay. Send in the Momo.
Okay, *176.
Ah, Pow. Don't you use a smartphone? Use a Momo app, ne?
Huh? Abba app.
Hey, I want to say a millennium, say millennial. Inyim. Oh, millennium for ya nyaze. Switch to the app. Oh, you're smart. And oh, you're secure.
Enter a world of possibilities with the Momo app. Pay your favorite merchant, pay utility bills, and borrow from our wide range of lending services. Move to the app side today. MTN.
M&C Group is a leading investment holding company with expertise in minerals and food commodity trading, precious minerals refinery, real estate development, and logistics and energy with individually registered companies. Our headquarters is located in Accra, Ghana, with operational offices in Dubai, UAE, Hong Kong, and Guangzhou in China, Johannesburg in South Africa, Virginia in the USA, and Milan, Italy. We connect business markets and drive growth. Trust us to maximize value in every deal. Call us on 0302 551 917 or 0302 551 918 or send us an email mncgroup@mncgroupgh.com. MNC Group, totally reliant.
Son, we are so proud of you for setting up this hospital. I really love those hospital beds and waiting chairs. By the way, did you import them?
No, Dad, I didn't. I actually got them from Kingdom Books and Stationery right here in Ghana.
Wow. We also bought our office supplies, safes, executive desks, and chairs from Kingdom, and they gave us expert advice on how to set up our office.
Guys, that makes 3 of us. I also got our sofa and bedroom sets, plus our dining hall furniture for our new home from Kingdom.
Wow, Mom, that makes 4 of us. I usually get my stationery items from Kingdom, and my teacher also mentioned that our classroom furniture was provided by Kingdom.
So there you have it. Whenever you're thinking about setting up an office or acquiring furniture for your home, etc., Kingdom Books and Stationery should be your first port of call. With over 40 years experience in the industry, we stock and supply a wide variety of globally sourced office and home furniture, stationery and equipment. Visit our head office, Takweje, Osu near the Osu Cemetery, Tema near Community 4, Takoradi opposite Vijay Mays Plaza, Cape Coast University Bookshop, Spintex Road near Absa Bank, Atomic Center Point Mall, Winneba University Campus, KNUST, the University Bookshop, and Santasi in Kumasi. You can also visit our shop online, www.kingdomstoreonline.com. Hurry while stock lasts. For further inquiries, contact us on 050-162-0810 or 0302-764-101. Email info@kingdomgh.com. Kingdom Books and Stationery Limited, where quality and affordability is assured. Terms and conditions apply.
Pepsodent, cavity protection.
This advert is FDA approved.
Hey, dear new Yamsa. And you stay soft concentrate fabric softener. I was such it move. Just send it say be here it's now che. New Yanets now che. No be a baby some was some demoni in us say. Dear new Yamsa. Fair quiet, yes, sim beer association Ontario. Uses Stay Soft and New Yanets now che. Nani boss to tap from cra. A fabric softener. And yen yes, sir. Choose to Stay Soft. No who's say no. FDID a garden crack to yatu.
Yeah, how can see malaria? Minya me pour name is a so spray. Every mosquito study run away. Oh, come on, tonton preko. Saso, mi se come tonton preko. Oh, come on, tonton preko. Saso, come tonton preko. Nani sham ne die demonstranko.
This advert is FDA approved.
You welcome back to Business on Newsnight. Now, competition and deregulation policy played a major role in forcing some of the oil marketing companies to keep prices unchanged at the pumps. This was the view of the chief executive of the Chamber of, that is, Petroleum Consumers, Duncan Amwa. Prices of some petroleum products should have gone up by almost 3% and diesel reduced by just under 1% over the weekend. However, most of them have not reviewed their prices as of this afternoon. But then Kanamwa tells jobbers in the suited cost in changing prices, especially when it's marginal at the service station, also played a role.
What happens often within industry is that the cost of changing your display boards or electronic boards or the pump every now and then is in itself some amount of work and money. And so where you find the difference is not that significant, what the OMCs often do is what they call cross pricing or cross-selling. Instead of making a pesos here and adjusting 5 pesos down on the other one, they would rather maintain prices so that it evens off at some point. And so this is one of the benefits you get from a deregulated market where the industry itself adjusting prices upwards, downwards, when the variations or the difference is not that significant, this is what you often would see within industry. So for us, it's not surprising. It's happened a lot of times when the prices for both products are too different. One goes up, one comes down. So if you left the two of them at the levels that you still have them, you are neither making losses nor making gains. So you are still able to stay within competition, and that for us is very fair. The market has been fair on this one.
Duncan Amwa is the executive secretary of the Chamber of Petroleum Consumers, and based on what he's saying, it looks like for the next 2 weeks you are likely to pay for the same price of petroleum products that you were paying earlier this month. Now, economist Professor Patrick Ashiman is urging government to tread cautiously with projections of economic turnaround from next year. The World Bank, in its latest report, is forecasting that growth will average at around 5% and inflation will slow down to single digit from next year. But the economist, Professor Ashiman, argued that looking at the progress that the country has made over the past month, what is being projected is really nothing to celebrate.
According to the Bank of Ghana, they are currently engaging all players in the industry on these proposed regulations, which the regulator believes will go a long way to strengthen the financial sector. These measures are different from the
We apologize for that wrong set over there, and we'll be bringing you that shortly, where we heard the economist saying that looking at the progress that has been made so far over the past months, the country should be performing better than what the World Bank has projected.
The average growth rate of 5% going forward has to be put in a proper context, because 2024 we grew 5.7, and based on the first quarter numbers, we are already projected to do something around the same number or higher. So actually, projecting 5% in the medium term is not something extremely new, and it's not something that we should be super excited about. I think that's what we need to, even though it will be higher than average in the last 5 years. I don't think that if you look at where we have been in 2024 and where we have started 2025, it's not like there's something super exciting. The other thing is that, the report focuses on jobs. And I think this is where we should be concerned with. If we are going to grow the same way, that kind of jobless growth we've seen in the last couple of decades, then, it's a higher number that's not necessarily bringing the benefits. I think the problem is that we focus too much on the macros and forget that at the end of the day, growth has to benefit human beings, and we have to create jobs. And I think this is where...
And that is economist Professor Patrick Ashiman. Now, the new Bank of Ghana directive on credit, risk and liquidity for commercial banks and all regulated financial institutions to take off from October this year. Now, this is what Joy Business has picked up from persons close to the Bank of Ghana. There is more in this report.
According to the Bank of Ghana, they are currently engaging all players in the industry on these proposed regulations, which the regulator believes will go a long way to strengthen the financial sector. These measures are different from the regulations on non-performing loans which had already taken off this month. The draft regulations covering these measures have already been sent to the banks and other financial institutions. The central bank believes the necessary engagement should be finalized before October this year. On the liquidity and capital resilience measures, the Bank of Ghana is seeking to ensure that the commercial banks hold adequate assets to withstand shocks.
And that is the DEX report. Now, Chief Executive of the Ghana National Chamber of Commerce and Industry, Dr. Magbedu Abuaji, is urging contractors to make it a priority to repay their loans once they receive payments from government. Now, speaking to Joy Business, Mr. Magbedu Abuaji emphasized that contractors play a critical role in reducing the high level of non-performing loans in the banking sector.
In fact, most of the non-performing loans are also coming from the government because they are not paying. So if the government can say that I'm paying, then the banks can also get the facility. That is not from the business community. I've performed a certain function for the government. I've constructed a road. The government gave me a contract that I will pay you at a certain point in time. I've gone for a facility. I've done the work. And government is not paying. There's nothing the business person can do. So if the government can pay these areas, obviously the non-performing loans will go down. But I would advise that in situations where the government pay these contractors, they should pay back the loan. We have had instances where government pay them, some of them would divert, as the definition of willful defaulter clearly states, may divert. For me, that is not legal.
Chief Executive of the Ghana National Chamber of Commerce and Industry, Magbedu Abuaji. To the stock market, if you were a shareholder of Public Bank Ghana, well, today it was up by 5 pesos to close at 1 Ghana cedi, 10 pesos. If you had invested on the market, you made a return of more than 50% from the Ghana Stock Exchange. And that's all for business on Newsnight. Let's do sports.
Let's go straight into the stories, and the countdown is on for the 2025 Joy Sports Invitational Tournament scheduled for Saturday, 23rd of August. 48 organizations will gather at the University of Ghana Stadium in just 5 days to compete in a variety of disciplines, including football, basketball, table tennis, volleyball, arm wrestling, NE games. This year's event is sponsored by Royal Sweets Limited, Ayuda Hub, the Game Energy Drink, Yomi Yogurt, and the Luckiest. Now, the Ghana Football Association President Kenneth paid a visit to Women's Premier League champions Police Ladies earlier today as they fine-tuned their preparations ahead of the WAFU B Women's Champions League qualifiers. Okreku expressed strong belief in the team's ability to qualify for the 2025-26 CAF Women's Champions League.
The opposition that will confront you in Cote d'Ivoire are not necessarily better than you are. The maximum they could claim is that they are also champions in their countries. But we are Ghana, and Ghana is Ghana. When it comes to football, whether boys or girls, we are Ghana. Therefore, we should go out of this country with all the confidence that we have the quality as technical men, we have the quality in management, and we have the quality as players on the pitch. You have a very strong technical team here, full of brains and full of experience. I watch the training and I can see quality.
GFA President Kenneth speaking there. Now, a man who was arrested on suspicion of racially abusing Bournemouth forward Antoine Semenyo during the opening match of the Premier League season at Anfield has been banned from every football stadium in the UK. Bournemouth's Friday game against Liverpool was briefly halted in the 29th minute after Semenyo flagged it up to the referee. The 47-year-old man from Liverpool was arrested on Saturday on suspicion of a racially aggravated public offence and has been conditionally bailed according to the Merseyside police. The conditions include a ban on attending any regulated football match in the UK and not going within 1 mile of a designated football stadium. That brings an end to sports. Back to you guys.
Well, thank you very much, Daniel. Let's do our next story, Pearl.
Well, a political science lecturer at the University of Ghana, Dr. Asa Asante, has cautioned that the New Patriotic Party's recent decision to grant amnesty to suspended members could weaken internal discipline and embolden future misconduct. The party's move, which involves reinstating individuals who had previously been suspended or were facing disciplinary action, is seen as a strategy to foster reconciliation and strengthen party unity ahead of the 2024 general elections. We'll hear from Dr. Asa Asante shortly. But Kenneth Gyasi has been going through the statement. And Kenneth, what does the statement say?
Well, it says that the National Council at its emergency meeting held on Friday, the 25th of July, resolved in the interest of unity and reconciliation to grant a general amnesty to all party members who have been suspended or whose disciplinary cases are currently pending before the appropriate adjudicatory bodies. And it says the members who have forfeited their membership are required to submit a formal application to the National Secretariat for reinstatement. It continues to say that this measure reflects the party's unwavering commitment to fostering internal cohesion, strengthening solidarity, and preparing collectively for the political tasks ahead. And then it continues by saying that in view of this resolution, the party leadership at all levels is hereby strictly advised to refrain from any arbitrary suspension of members. The National Secretariat requests the full compliance with this directive. It ended by saying that they count on their usual cooperation, and it was signed by the acting national chairman, Dankwa Smith Bute. We know that the chairman, Stephen Intim, has recused himself due to health reasons, so the acting chairman signed this. Yeah.
So, Kenneth, we can now hear from Dr. Asasante, who says the decision risks emboldening misconduct.
In politics, it's a game of numbers, so you always want to have the numbers at all times to support you, and that is why I'm sure they are doing that. But the downside of it is that when people are able to be giving such reprieve, there is always the tendency for others to emulate them and also do what others have done, and they expect that they will also be given amnesty.
Meanwhile, political activist Dr. Arthur Kennedy has described the move by the NPP as hypocritical.
I think that it is a grudging amnesty that is calculated to keep people still on the side. If you grant an amnesty to somebody and he's not popular and he wants to go and run for office, let them go and lose. Why do you have to bar them from running for office? That in itself shows that the amnesty is not sincere and important, and the apology should not only be to people like Afoku. It should be to the people of Ghana for a boneheaded policy, for being members who foisted upon Ghana a government that's...
Well, he also described the amnesty as insincere.
This amnesty is hypocritical because we are the same party that in 2008 brought somebody who didn't even have a party membership card and made them running mate. By the way, earlier that year, at least 5 people who wanted to run as parliamentary candidates had been disqualified because they had not, quote, developed the party enough. So I think that we owe a lot of people apologies, not just amnesties. Paula Foko, for example, Kwabena Japan, for example, we need the Alan supporter who lost the eye and all those people. We need to apologize to Ghanaians.
You had a political activist, Dr. Arthur Kennedy.
Yes, Pearl. Let's go onto the telephone lines and speak to a founding member of the New Patriotic Party, Dr. Nyaho Tamaklo. Dr. Tamaklo, thank you very much for your time. You yourself were suspended by the New Patriotic Party some 9 years ago. Do you share in the sentiment by Dr. Arthur Kennedy that you need to be apologized to and not granted amnesty in order to be brought back into the party?
I think the call is in the right direction, but you ask yourself, is it sincere? That's the first question. Looking at the state of the party now, the party is totally shredded into pieces. We have numerous people contesting the position of presidential aspirant, and there are a lot of divisions. So you ask yourself, what really prompted them to come forward? This should have been done long ago, because most or almost those suspended are fine brains who could have brought a lot of positive change to the party.
Political scientist Dr. Sasanta says this might embolden, people in the party to misbehave with this granting of amnesty. Do you share any sentiments?
No, I disagree totally.
Why is that?
See, it's a political party that has certain objectives and rules, and if these are kept well, one important one to me is free elections. We have not been having free elections for the past 8-9 years. That is the main problem facing the party. What they say they are going to do now, I think January, is nothing than buying votes. And that is not what that party was formed for.
Okay, thank you very much. Dr. Nyaho Tamaklo is a founding member of the New Patriotic Party.
Now, scores of aggrieved traders in Ashiman today took to the streets to protest what they describe as an unlawful eviction by the Ashiman Municipal Assembly. The traders who operate on a parcel of land near the Ashiman traffic light insist they possess unnecessary legal documents permitting them to conduct business there. There is more in this report.
The aggrieved traders, clad in red armed bands, wielded placards, some of which read, "We own this land, why take it from us? And we have documents, respect our rights." They insist they possess all the necessary legal documents permitting them to operate on the land near the Ashiman traffic light. They say the land dispute is already before the court, awaiting a ruling. According to the traders, a private developer is allegedly influencing the assembly to forcibly take over the land despite the pending legal process. They are vowed to resist any attempt to remove them until the court delivers its verdict.
Go say one open fight. These people tell them say the land long to those people sit down for here. Please, association. The land long for we. This man come back. The time we go, my brother to also did there. They say no, and them no the inside. This man come back. Make wayo, make yans a chrono.
Papa also be 10 feet. So be 10 feet. I need no problem. Be 10 feet from what the beer. So you 10 feet, 10 feet. Yeah, want to be touchy because I document to assassinate. So
some protesters expressed anger, calling the action an injustice being meted out to them. Leader of the traders, Jeffrey Ellie, condemned the assembly's move, accusing officials of disregarding due process. Meanwhile, heavy security was deployed at the scene to maintain order and prevent the protests from escalating into violence.
Well, that's all time will permit us for News Night tonight. Thank you very much for being a part of the show. My name is Kenneth. Gyasi.